They say the best kind of magic is that which happens in the spectator's hands. This trick is so simple, yet so powerful, it fooled one of the smartest men ever. His name, Steve Jobs. The magician has 2 decks of cards. There's nothing strange about them, and he displays both decks in brand new order. The magician allows the spectator to choose a deck for himself and choose a deck for the magician to use. In this case, the spectator gives the magician the red deck and takes the blue deck for himself. The magician then says he wants the spectator to copy his moves exactly, and if they do, maybe they'll have the exact same outcome. The magician picks up his cards and tries to cut them exactly halfway down. He tells the spectator to pick up his cards, the blue pile, and also try and cut them exactly halfway down. The magician then gives his cards an overhand shuffle, genuinely mixing up the order of all the cards in his hand. The spectator then picks up his pile and tries to copy the magician exactly by performing an overhand shuffle with the cards. The magician then cuts his red cards again, and the spectator follows, cutting their blue cards. The magician then takes his cards and gives them a riffle shuffle, mixing up his cards even more. The spectator sees this and again picks up their pack and also tries to give the cards a riffle shuffle, mixing up all the cards as well. The magician then gives the cards one final cut, and so does the spectator. The magician then instructs the spectator to swap piles with him. Both the magician and the spectator switch piles. The magician then picks up the spectator's pile and attempts to cut off exactly half the deck. He then looks at the next card down and remembers it. He places that card onto the deck and then places the rest of the cards onto the pile. The spectator is instructed to do exactly the same thing. They pick up the cards in one hand like the magician did, and then try and cut off exactly half the cards. They then look at the next card down and remember it. That card is then put on top of the pile, and the rest of the cards are then put on top of that. In exactly the same way as before, the cards are mixed. The magician cuts the cards, and then the spectator cuts the cards, losing their selection into the deck, and then the magician and spectator swap piles. The magician and spectator then have to find the cards they cut to. The magician goes through his deck and finds his card. The spectator then goes through and picks up his deck and finds the card that he cut to. Both cards are then placed onto the table. Despite the cards being fairly shuffled by both the spectator and the magician, despite the deck being cut numerous times, despite the fact that a card was randomly selected, it just so happens that the 2 cards that they chose perfectly match.
In order to do this trick, you need 2 decks of cards, blue deck of cards, and of course, red deck of cards. Now simply give the spectator to just cut the deck and ask the spectator to choose the deck for himself. Now simply all you're gonna do now is instruct the spectator to just choose and cut the deck. Simply instruct the spectator to do first the table cut. The second thing is spectator, you need to cut your moves exactly. From here the trick just works. Now simply instruct the spectator to do just the riffle shuffle, the overhand shuffle and the table riffle in the deck. Give the spectator to just shuffle the cards. It's a very important thing to do. This trick is my personal favorite when I learned from another YouTube channel, and I will leave a link down in the description. You can watch it from my friend. Now simply instruct another spectator to just cut his red deck of cards into 2 piles and do the table shuffle as I just told earlier on this video. Give the spectator to just to push the cards together. From here the trick just works. Make sure everything is clean and fair in the deck. Now simply, all you're just gonna do, give the spectator to do just one final cut. It is very important to do, and the spectator needs to do the table cut. The second thing all you're gonna do now is give the spectator to just swap the piles. Now simply, all you're gonna do now is take top card and looks at it. In this case it can be the 5 of spades with the key card, the 9 of diamonds. To cut the deck to lose their selection in the deck. Now simply, all you're just gonna do now, cut the deck again, you look up your card, in this case the 2 of diamonds with the 6 of hearts, when I did it in the performance, when I just told earlier, the 2 of diamonds. Now simply give the spectator again to just swap the piles. Now simply give the spectator to find his card. Take your deck of cards and try to find your cards. In this case the 6 of spades, but make sure these 2 cards is same. Then just all you're gonna do now is turn over the cards and reveal the cards is same.